This is a public service announcement. The following presentation contains controversial information and ideas that could change the way you view the world. What you see and hear may soon compel you to take action. Viewer discretion is advised.
I want us to think together about images. Images of American Indians. Today, there are 4.1 million American Indians in this country, and many of them, like me, are urban. In fact, New York City has 100,000 American Indian people. Now, we don't all look or act or behave or believe in the same things. In fact, there's not just one way to look or act or to be Indian. We are as diverse as the 562 sovereign nations.
Peace. Peace. Waiting on Cheeto. Come on, Cheeto. Let's go, man. There you go.
Hey,
There you go.
Come on.
Yeah, there you go. All
There
right.
we go.
All right. Good to see you, Pa. Now, we just had a nice little conversation earlier. We was backstage. Now we on the front line. You know
We
what I
on the
mean?
front line.
Okay, yeah, I remember now. Yeah, I definitely remember, Rama. I definitely remember now. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, Pa, we on this front line now. We can have this conversation with the people, we the people, right? And
Right.
we just gonna recap what we discussed. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna lay it out like this, right? I spoke on Kamala Harris, right?
Right.
I talked about basically, like I could read it verbatim for you again, but it's on my page. Anybody can go read it. At no point in time did I endorse that woman's politics or her policies. Right?
Right.
My thing was, instead of people complaining and talking shit about her, why don't they take on the responsibility that she took on? Right? Why don't they edify themselves in a manner in which they qualify to be able to, you know what I mean, really speak on the stuff they doing, you know what I mean, and become active in their own communities. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's where it started.
Yeah,
It started
I
at
don't.
home
Yeah,
first.
like y'all talking slick about a woman, right, who came through the same experiences we all came through. I don't care what y'all say. That woman was born in California. She was raised in Oakland, right, during the 70s, 60s, and 70s. What was going on in Oakland in the 60s and 70s, Pa?
Oh man, they had the Cox riot, right? You had that going on. You had a whole lot of stuff. And matter of fact, that's where the Coconino first touched down at.
All right. So to think this woman don't have the experiences that we have, she may not have come from poverty, but she's still a woman of color growing up in America. You know what I mean? So on that note, like, I don't see how people who really don't know intimate details could really speak on her, you know what I mean, her morals. Like, okay, I understand that she did some questionable things as attorney general, right? But that was her job, you know what I mean? And when you somebody that gets involved in politics, they go in with the intention of changing things, right? Then they get into a position and they realize, damn, I can't change nothing. Right? So you could throw the towel in and walk away, or you bide your time, right? And you try to elevate yourself into a higher position of power. So now maybe you can affect what you thought you could in the position you was currently at. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is, yeah, this woman was a part of what was going on in California, right? She's taking the brunt of the blame for it as attorney general. but she was defending the state, right? And these policies that the state was dealing with have been in place for decades. For decades.
Right.
At least 2 decades they was dealing with the overpopulation of prisons in California, right?
Right.
Now, her job was not to depopulate the prisons. Her job was to keep them full. That's her
Right.
job. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, okay, we don't agree with it. Some people got caught in the crossfires and their lives was affected. And I feel for these people, right? But let's not miss the point that I was trying to make. It had nothing to do with her and what she did. It had more to do with the people taking on more responsibility for themselves and their communities, right? But everybody want to turn into me endorsing Kamala Harris. It's not what I did. I don't agree with her politics. I don't agree with anybody's politics fully. You know what I mean? So why is it that people want to come at me and change the subject matter, right? Why? Because they don't want to deal with being responsible. They'd rather talk slick about other people than to handle business on their own, you know what I'm saying? And try to make improvements in their own communities. Like you up here belly aching about Kamala Harris, but you probably don't even know the mayor of your city. You know what I mean? You don't know the governor of your state. You don't know the local
councilmen and
local councilmen and councilwomen. You probably don't go to the PTA meeting. You probably don't sit down with the principal of your children's school, right? So the point I'm trying to make is we all can do more, right? Save that energy that you're doing sitting online, kicking the back end of a woman of color who could possibly inspire a whole nother generation that's not going to have the same politics as her, but they're going to see her in a position of power and say, damn, I could aspire to be that, right? So that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at things from a whole nother perspective, man, because I'm thinking about a brighter future. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to live my life as a victim, thinking that, oh, the man this, the man that. Okay, cool. But what you gonna do for yourself? You gonna sit up here and complain, or you gonna get busy? You know what I mean? I don't see how people getting busy if they got all the energy to sit on the internet and talk slick. You know what I'm saying? I don't be on Facebook as much anymore because I'm out here getting busy, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting busy. So that's all I'm trying to tell people to do. Do you, yo. Stop complaining about other people and do you. Let's see the effects of your work in your own communities. You know what I mean?
And you know what's another thing too, cuz people gotta stop looking at other people to govern them.
Absolutely.
Because that's what family is for. Family is for governance. That's what family is for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how many go talk to the elders of their family? No, they want to fuss and fight and talk about, well, auntie such and such, she thinks she better than it. Like, nah, no, fuck all that. Go talk to the elders of your family, who is the leaders of your family.
Who got
talk
the
to the first cousins, your second cousins, your third cousins, your fourth cousins. You know, here, y'all don't even much talk about when y'all gonna have the next fucking family reunion. Y'all can't even decide that shit.
No. But
that's the first governance to come together to know who your family is. But
you want to discuss the background of a woman who, for all intents and purposes, is getting busy. Whether you agree with her or not, she putting in work. Whether it's working for you or not, she doing for her and her family. You know what I mean? And all we asking other people to do is do for you and your family. You know what I mean? Do for yours. And if you feel like you qualified to be in a position of power, go through the fire. You know what I mean? Edify yourself. Put yourself in a position to be in a position of power, and then see how easy it really is to make change.
But you know what? But you know what? They don't even much have community watch no more. That was your first government right there too. One of the first. You know, you don't even much have that no more. So now you have your neighbor's son or one of your nephews or somebody out there standing on the corner causing havoc.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of saying, look, bro, you my family member. Look, dude, you're not going to be standing out here on the corner selling. You're not going to do that. I don't care how mad you get with me, but motherfucker, I'm protecting your life as well as mine.
Mm-hmm. But see, that's like it's too much work. Like it takes responsibility. You know what I mean? It takes being dedicated. You know what I mean?
Right.
And people want to talk about dedication, but they don't want to be dedicated. You know,
Right.
everybody want to go to heaven, but don't nobody want to die. You feel me? Like you want the rewards without the work. You know what I'm saying? See,
Right, Rabbi. That's what I say. You got to do for self.
That's the thing, no. But see, you gotta. That statement is partially true because when people think of politicians, they only thinking of presidents. No, you need to create a relationship with your local politicians. You gotta be in their face. You know what I mean? You gotta hold them accountable.
Right.
You can't dismiss them because they controlling the schools your kids go to. They like the roads you drive on. All these things, right, are being controlled by these very politicians. So if you don't have a voice, the water systems, yeah. So if you don't have a voice with them, like you leaving yourself out in the cold. Peace,
right.
Sabir. What's good, bro? Yes, my man Sabir in the building. You know I got to bring him up one day. We're gonna have to chop it up one day, Sabir. I know you be on your thing. You got your little, you know what I mean, but we're gonna have to chop it up on this live one day, man. But yeah, that's the thing.
What's happening, Sabir?
Sabir Bay in the building. Indeed.
That was me that asked about the Dick Act, bro. When I say, did you know about the Dick Act? That was dealing with the militia and everything that's controlled by the president.
Mm.
He thought I was a white dude. He said, I don't know. I don't know who the freak he is. He could be white. No, that was no, but look, and you know what? I have a DVD from Sabir.
Mm-hmm.
I have what's happening, cuz I have a DVD with talking about driving and law, right? But I actually put up the case law that's dealing with the federal Supreme Court that says that no state gives attorney license to practice law. And when I did that, they've been messing with my life ever since. Nah, they ain't messing with yours, but they was messing with mine.
Let me say this. If we don't vote, they're going to vote in who they want, and we'll have no say-so in anything. So you can say no vote, but that's not going to stop nothing. Just like boycotting the NFL stopped nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was an old one, Sabir. And I have the etymology class with you and Taj on there. You know,
yeah,
so
over 10 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, that's over. So we've been putting in work, man. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You know?
Yeah, me and Sabir did our first video well over 10 years ago. Well over 10 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, we've been out here putting in work, and we got the evidence. Like it's, you know what I mean? It is what it is. You know what I mean?
Right. You know, and just like they say, ignorance of the law is no excuse. By bringing a little bit deeper, ignorance of the law in history is no excuse.
Mm-hmm. Because law is based on history.
Just like I said, how many people go sit down in the courtroom and see how a courtroom is opened up and how they do business? Because that's what they say what it is. They say it's a business. You know, when the judge hit that third ravel, he said, look, he said the court is now open for business. And people in them don't even much get it.
Yeah, it's all about business. It's about finance.
Right. You know?
So, yeah, you know, I just, you know, I know there's some people out there that, you know, want to be in contention and want to always put you know, it's always got to be one side or the other. You know what I mean? Yeah, I got you, Sabi. I'm gonna definitely hit you up, man. It's one side or the other. If you think this way, then you at odds with me on this. Because you know, people aren't multi-layered. They're not, you know what I mean? They just real on the surface, you know what I mean? So I can say something in defense of Kamala Harris in terms of her heritage, right? Or things of that nature. And that doesn't mean I support her politics. You know what I mean? I can say I
Right.
think it's dumb for people to say she's not a Black American, or like, okay, she's not an African American, but I'm not an African American, right? I'm not African American. I don't consider myself African American. Does that mean I didn't go through the experience of being Black in America? Does that mean I ain't have to deal with the oppression? Does that mean when I went into stores, people didn't follow me because I don't consider myself? Of course they did. I went through the same thing everybody else went through in society because of the color of my skin, right?
Right.
So ain't nobody looking at this little girl, little 12-year-old Kamala Harris, and going, oh, she's an Indian. We're not going to treat her a certain way. They don't care. The same people will tell me, bro, they don't care if you Lenape or you this, you that. To them, we all Black. So if that's the case, why isn't that the same case with her? Why does now the rules change when it comes to somebody that you don't respect? Like, I'll give you another example, right? People always use, you know, that one picture of the Dravidian woman that everybody uses to show that the ancient Indians was Black, right? Everybody uses that picture, that dark Dravidian woman, right?
Yeah, with the gold. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, everybody knows it. Look, yeah, we was Black people all over the planet, right? Boom, Dravidian woman. So here you have a woman who's a descendant of Dravidians, but you want to say she's not Black. But when you want to prove your point that Black people existed all over the planet, you'll use a picture of a Dravidian, but you're going to deny her of her ancestry. Why? Because now she's not as dark as her ancestors that came before her. Okay, well, I'm not as dark as my ancestors that came before me. Does that mean I'm not who I am?
Right.
See what I'm saying? Like, yo, this colorism, this crazy. Like, people use colorism when they want to because it benefits them. Oh, we all the same people. We this, we that. We need to come together. But then as soon as you want to use it as a divisive point, you'll say, oh, yeah, she not really us. Why is she not? She grew up in Oakland. I don't like, yo, we not, like, everybody wants to say, oh, I'm the indigenous. Ain't none of us the pure indigenous American. None of us. People have been coming to the Americas for thousands of years and intermixing with every tribe, every
Everybody.
nation. So what would make you think, unless you got all of your genealogy, and we know that every generation your grandparents double. So don't tell me you got all your genealogy. Oh, I know who I am. I got all my genealogy. No, you don't. I don't got all my genealogy. I know my most prevalent lines, right? I know them going back to the 1600s, going back to our tribal days. But I don't know every line. You know what I'm saying? I don't know every line, so I can't tell you what I definitely do or definitely don't have in me. You know what I'm saying? So why even try and position myself like, oh no, I'm Lenape and I'm the original inhabitant and I don't got no other nothing in me. That is stupid.
Yeah.
It's dumb. You know what I mean? Ain't no pure indigenous Americans. Cut it out. You know what I mean? So why are you gonna hold against her that her ancestors are from India, but she was born here? That makes her an American, just like it makes me and you an American. Because my people ain't from America. You know what I'm saying? And when I say that, I'm talking about the political construct of America. My people predate America, right? So what's the difference? I'm an American of Lenape and Kituwa descent. I'm an American of Lenape, Kituwa, Irish, and African descent. And for those of you who are going to go, oh, he put African last, he hates himself. Okay, I'm an American of African, Lenape, Cherokee, and Irish descent. Does that make you feel better? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But the
Right.
point is, I grew up in my tribal territory of Lenape-Oaken, right? I grew up in that, in the remnants of what was left over of that culture, right? My ancestors lived that culture. So I identify with that. I don't identify with the little bit of Irish I got in me, and I don't identify with the African that's in me, although I do respect and revere Africa, because at one point in time, we all was studying Africa. We always giving homage and paying respect to Africa. You know what I mean? Because we say we don't directly come from there, or our ancestors didn't come over here on those slave ships, don't mean that we disconnect ourselves from the original people on the planet, and we all descend from the original people on the planet. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I don't get into the argument of, yeah, but America was first. Yeah, the landmass may have appeared first. That don't mean that the people on the landmass appeared first. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't get into all that conversation because shit go back so far, we can't absolutely say where the hell we was all from. Our ancestors ain't leave no latitude and longitude lines. They ain't leave no marks. This is where we from. We base, like, even the concept of indigenous is based on Europeans coming here and calling the people they saw here indigenous, right? So the definition is the original people that were here when the Europeans arrived, right? That's what indigenous means. It means the people that were here when they arrived, because they don't know.
Not to cut your wisdom, but even when we talk about America, you and I, we built on that, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we always want to move the goalposts when it benefits us. You know what I mean? So my whole thing with the Kamala Harris thing is, okay, she's not American, but what is American? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, what tribe called themselves American? And you know, people be like, oh no, the Amaru Ka. Man, that's, y'all have poor comprehension. Amaru, right, was a deity for the people of Peru. Right? They called the land Amaru Ka. The land, their particular strip of land, which is a mountainous area, they call that area Amaru Ka because they say that Amaru, or the serpent deity, come from the mountains, right? But they didn't say that the whole landmass was called America, and they didn't call themselves Americans. They had very specific names, and anybody who would like to go on my website and look it up, all the names are there. They never called themselves the Amaru Ka. Right? So people saying that the name America come from that, no, it don't. The name America come from some white people who came over here and encountered some indigenous people and misconstrued the name of their deity for the name of the land. Now everybody wants to say, oh, we Americans. No, we Americans because Europeans came over here and called this land America. We didn't call this land America. You know what I'm saying? I'm not from Peru. My people never called this land America. You know what I'm saying? No tribes called the land the same thing. Right? So how are we all Americans? We all Americans because that's what the European came and gave y'all. Now, because you look up the definition, oh, the definition for American is any of the copper tone nations found here when the European arrived. So now you define yourself based on that. But that's not who you are. Look up your language. If you ever get to the bottom of finding out who you are, look in your language and see if you see the word America in your language.
You ain't gonna find it.
You ain't gonna find it. You ain't gonna find it.
If they get mad at me when I tell them.
Mm-hmm. So if we can take on the attribute or the title of American because we was born in the United States, why can't a woman who was born in the United States take on that, you know what I'm saying? To take on that title, right? Now, if they call us African Americans because we come from Africa, quote unquote, they say we come from Africa and we living in America, that makes us African Americans. Well, don't the people who know history know that the people who populate India and all these other places at one point came from Africa? Or do they think they just popped up in that land that we call Hindustan? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, like, when do we, you know what I mean? Like, what's the criteria for being an American? Do you have to be an African American, or do you have to be, you know what I mean? Like, what's the criteria to say you're American? Can you answer that for me, Paul? Why do people call themselves Americans in America, in the United States?
Because it was told that.
They was told that.
They was told that.
They was told that. So that's an artificial title. That's not real, right?
Because even those who came from England, they didn't call themselves Americans until way later.
Till way later. And that was after they came through Tammany Hall.
Right.
Right? That's dealing with that degree. That's dealing with that Freemason degree.
Because see, what people don't fail to realize is that before all that, dealing with the 13 colonies and everything, that was dealing with the Virginia Company. And that happened in the 1600s, and then it wound up going bankruptcy, and then it wound up doing it again. That's how you still got the state of Virginia.
Mm.
No, cuz you're wrong. You're wrong, cuz we just broke down where America came from. It did not come from American Respucians. No.
No, it did not. Because see, this is what they don't get, right? Amerigo is his name in one language, right? So if you read about him in one nation's history, his name gonna be Amerigo. If you read about him in another nation's history, his name is gonna be something else, because those are translations of his name. Like, none of those, that's not his real name, and that's not, like, go on my website, Malik. Go on my website, turtlegang.nyc, and all you have to do is type in Peru, type in Amaru Ka, and you'll get the whole breakdown about who named America, the German map makers that made the first map that they called the land America. It's them that did it. They ain't got nothing to do with no Amerigo Vespucci. He's not the person who named America. Some people that got a hold of his information, some German map makers. My family, just look it up. I just look it up.
Because before they started calling North America, they called it Ethiopia. Did you know that, cuz?
Mm-hmm.
The map makers called it Ethiopia.
Mm-hmm. Listen, when they came to New York,
before it was the Atlantic Ocean, it was the Ethiopian Ocean. So they was called this part the Ethiopia of the West.
Listen, when
she said give the she said give the can you give the please repeat your site again?
turtlegang.nyc. I'm gonna bring it up. I'm gonna pull it up, and I'm gonna show y'all.
Turtle Gang, cuz that's my cousin on the Bartholomew. That's my cousin on the Bartholomew side.
Okay, yeah, we know the Bartholomews. Got people out in Louisiana connected. All right, so you know what it is, Pop. All right, so Peru. This guy was called Amaru, and the territory known as Amaru Ka. The territory, just their territory, not the entire
whole continent. Right.
In Peru, this god was called Amaru, and the territory known as Amaru Ka. Right? Many people believe that America is named after Amerigo Vespucci, while others hold fast to the idea that the continent was named after the indigenous people of this land. My contention is that this is only part truth. The name America does come from ancient indigenous people of Peru, but it was a name applied to that territory and that territory alone. The people outside of that territory had their own unique name for the lands they occupied. Furthermore, the naming of entire continents is strictly a European concept and is done so to place ownership on entire land masses. Our respective ancestors were not concerned with that, right? So, in mythology of the Andean civilizations of South America, the Amaro, Amaru, or Quechua, or Qatari, Amara is a mythological serpent or dragon most associated with Tiwanaku and Incan empires. In Incan mythology, the Amaru is a huge double-headed serpent that dwells underground. And I'll break that down. That is dealing with a volcano, right? And when a volcano erupts, right, the smoke that goes into the air represents the feathers flying into the air, right? Represents the higher self going up. The lava that sleeks down the volcano, that represents the serpent, right? So now you have the higher self and the lower self. And when you look at the eruption, it looks like wings and it looks like a double-headed serpent. So the whole concept of Amaru, of what was going on in the Bible, right? All these concepts of mountains rumbling and all that are just them reporting what they're seeing in terms of a volcanic eruption. I got all this documented. It's all historic. And what people don't realize is that all those Freemason symbols where you got the wings and the two-headed and all those, that's all dealing with that indigenous science. It's just dealing with indigenous people watching. That's why they say Amaru comes from the underground. Where did lava come from? Where does the power and the explosion come from? It comes from deep under the earth and explodes out through the volcano.
Cuz, did you see the new Godzilla movie?
Mm-hmm.
Remember when they showed when Rodan came, he was sitting on the volcano and they had the wings?
Yeah.
Right. And then when you look down to the right, they had a sign of the cross right there.
Mm-hmm. They dealing with that same science. And I have pictures on my Instagram, on my Facebook that illustrate all of this. It's not the spooky shit. The Amaru that those people in South America was worshiping was a volcano. Just like all the great deities all over the world that are worshipped, they're worshiping volcanoes. Mounds are volcanoes, right? All these things dealing with nature. Pyramids are artificial mounds, which are volcanoes. It's all the same thing. It's all the same thing, bro. Listen.
And that's why they say pyramid meaning center fire. Because because the fire coming from within.
From within. Exactly. Right. So, like, my Instagram, this is what I'm going to do. All y'all come to my Facebook, and I'm going to repost all of these builds so y'all can see for yourself. You know what I mean? It's not this crazy fantasy stuff that people want to tell you it is. It's real shit. The feathered serpent is just the result of a volcano exploding, the smoke that rises, and Paul, what we do when we make our prayers? What we send our prayers up on?
Yeah, with the smoke.
With the smoke. Smoke carries it up, and the eagle or the hawk or whatever's dealing with in your territory takes it the rest of the way. Takes it the rest of the way. That's the science. This is why when you go to Mexico, you can see on their pyramids, right? When the sun hits it at a certain time, it looks like a snake is snaking down the steps, right? That's all them reproducing what they saw in these volcanic explosions, volcanic eruptions. The Bible is full of it. When they talk about the walls of Jericho falling and the trumpets blaring and all that, they're talking about a volcanic eruption. Where did Moses go? He went up on the mountain, right?
And they say the mountain was full of smoke.
And the mountain was full of smoke. Like, yo, if you in tune with your indigenous history and culture, all this religious stuff, you're going to be able to see right through it and know what they're dealing with. All this Masonic stuff, you can see right through it and know what they're dealing with. That's the truth of the matter. You don't got to worship nothing. All you got to do is observe nature. We are animists. We deal with animism. You know
Right.
what I mean? I'm turtle, for real. And that's just what it is, man. Like, and we can go on for days with this, but you know, we jumping around, but not to get too far from the topic, which for me is stop complaining and get out there and do some work for yourself, for your communities, for your families. You know what I
Right.
mean? That's what's important for me. And all these people up here want to jump on my feed and call me a cheerleader, and I'm in love with Kamala, and one sister even said, "Oh, I can't wait till Kamala's laws send you to prison." Let me tell you something, yo. I'm 50 years old, and I ain't never been incarcerated. It ain't about to be incarcerated because I ain't dumb. 'Cause
Right.
I know how to handle myself.
Right.
I stand upright. You know what I mean? I ain't with all that. So you gonna be waiting forever for anybody's laws to lock me up. I know how to navigate through this world. Got a 25-year-old son, ain't never been in no trouble because he know how to navigate through this world. Why? Because I made sure he knows how. You know what I mean? So all
And
that
that's where it comes
spooky
down
shit,
at.
yeah,
Yeah.
all that spooky shit, I'm not with it and it don't affect me. Indeed. You're welcome. You're welcome. So we on here dropping, you know what I mean? Dropping that knowledge. But you know what it is for me, Pun.
Yeah, because most people, they only take their education from within the four walls. We had more than the four walls. We had our grandmothers and grandfathers and grand aunts and grand uncles. You know, these things they're not going to teach you inside the four walls. They're not going to teach you that.
Mm-mm.
You know, they're not going to teach you how we, the people over here, was actually making contact with our cousins from across the Great Pond. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we never said no ocean. We said the Great Pond.
Yep. Great pond, the great waters. You know,
Yeah,
the river.
you know,
Yep. Because those
and you
aren't
had people, you had
my
people
God.
that trade. And see, this is what they don't understand dealing with trade. Not only did they trade with goods, but they trade with one another bloodlines.
Genetics. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So why would you think you don't got some of that from everywhere in you? Yo, we the people that got everything in us. Because not only like, yo, I'm gonna drop that jewel another time. But let me say this. We the people that got everybody in us. And it ain't because we was raped. It ain't because we was raped. We've traveled the furthest on this planet. We've covered every inch of this planet. That's why we are who we are. You know what I mean? That's why we are who we are. We've been everywhere on this planet. People want to come into the timeline when we reemerged in certain areas after different calamities, right? But our people been around through at least 7 calamities on this planet, and we've been known by different names. You know what I mean?
See,
That's why.
cause
Mm-hmm.
oh, not to cut it off, but we talking about government and Kamala Harris, right?
Yeah.
And on your post earlier today, you were saying about which we already know that those so-called founding fathers, right, who were
Mm,
Freemasons, came and had a delegate to come and meet with the Iroquois Confederation, and they
yeah.
actually borrowed things from the great laws of peace, and they
Well,
also put Masonic things in it as well.
yeah. Well, see, this is the thing. This is the backstory that people don't really. Yeah, they got it from the Iroquois, right? But the territory where all this stuff took place was Lenape territory. Iroquois territory was more upstate, more inland, right?
Right,
Lenape territory was right on the shore, on the coast, right? Where Verrazano came. You know what I mean? Where Hudson came. You know what I mean? All the way down to damn near Virginia area, right? So we was in control of the land. This was not Iroquois territory. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw other cousins. I saw other cousins on there. Look, we got the whole family in the building.
Yeah, he ain't here. I tried to get him to come live, but you know, he be quiet. That's the quiet. That's Silent Hawk. You know what I mean? He moves silently. You know what I'm saying? I got the big mouth. I'm the one with the big mouth. He the one with the brains. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, so
as we left off, when you was talking about how the territory was the Lenape territory.
Okay, yeah. So you want to wait till a couple more people come back? You want to just jump back in?
Yeah. Tag Malik if he can finish hearing this. Let me see if I can tag him in.
Matter of fact, I'll do y'all even one better. I'm gonna grab something real quick. See this? It's called Grandfather Speaks, right?
Right.
So this a book. It's a book written, but look, it's written by a Lenape. It's not written by some white man studying the Lenape. You understand?
That's a difference.
Yeah, it's a difference. It's a big difference, right? So to get back to the whole, you know, while we waiting for people to jump back in, I'm gonna find this page.
Right.
So I can read it to you verbatim. You know what I mean? Why freestyle off the top of my head when I can give it to you just as it was?
Right.
Yeah, I got it right here. Yeah, Pa, look at this. Look at this. You see this? You see all those names? Is it backwards? It's backwards, right?
You can actually like flip the camera around the other way when it can come when it can see it. You see how they got the thing when they say camera flip? There you go.
So I gotta hold it over here?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, there you go. So you see that, right?
Introductions. Yeah, there you go.
Read all those names.
Ottawa. Yeah.
Fox.
Miami.
See all that?
Yeah.
Right? Long Island tribes, Nanticoke, Mohegan, Cree, Blackfoot, Lenape, Delaware,
Blackfoot,
Lenape, Wappingers, Abenaki. See that? All that? Long Island tribes.
Narragansett.
Let me read to you. Hold on. So you saw that. Now let me read to you what precedes that list. Our Lenape people, Lenape Rock, as we call ourselves, were called the grandfathers and considered the progenitors of all Algonquin people. Lenape means common people. All of the Algonquin people speak similar language. Among these people are, and that's the list I just showed you, right? But what it does, all right, let me find the part where it tells you this. But what it's showing you is that all these tribes I just showed you, Ottawa, Ojibwa, Sauk, Fox, Menominee, Miami, right? Potawatomi, Kickapoo, Illinois, Kanoi, Nanticoke, Mohegan, Cree, Cheyenne, Blackfoot, Delaware, Shawnee, right? All those tribes are really Lenape people.
Right.
We're all the same people. Those are just the location names.
Right.
Right? So when I'm speaking to other people, right, from all up and down the Northeast, right, they go by their local names.
Right.
Right? My particular people, we go by our grandfather title, right? So that's why I tell people I'm Lenape. Because when we all migrated into this area, we came to a certain place, which is now called New York, New Jersey. And over time, as we multiplied, we spread up and down the East Coast.
Right.
Canada, all the way down to the Virginia area, Tidewater area.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's where we were then at some point in time, all through the Mississippi, encounter your people.
Right. And that's how we wind up being related.
Being related. That's how other tribes came to be that are a mixture of our two tribes.
Right.
You understand? We learn things from y'all. I'm not going to get into it because it ain't for everybody. But we learn things from y'all. You know what I mean? And y'all learn things from us. You know what I mean?
Vice versa. So, that's right.
Yeah. But the point I'm trying to make is that, you know, a lot of people be talking real crazy, right? But I know they don't know the history because of the way they talk. You know what I'm saying? So let me see what we got. We got 10 people. All right. So we was talking about the Iroquois, right? And how the Europeans were able to create a constitution based on what we were doing. Now you're right. The Freemasons already had that, right?
Right.
Because they was getting, they had their own little things. But what people really don't understand is that during the time of the European arrival, right?
Right.
Lenape were in charge of this territory from damn near Canada to the Tidewater area of Virginia, right?
Right.
The Nanticoke, who now currently live in New Jersey, you'll find Nanticoke also in Maryland and Virginia. It's a Nanticoke. There's a Piscataway tribe in Virginia, in Northeast Virginia, Maryland, D.C. area. There's a Piscataway tribe in New Jersey.
Right.
Understand? There's a part of New Jersey called Piscataway. Right? So I'm showing you that, and that's why we all speak Algonquin, because we all come from the same people, right? With the same history. We just divided at a certain point. So, and this is thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. This is more than, this is more than 12,000, you know what I mean? Could be 50,000, you know what I'm saying? Anywhere in there, but this is long before. A lot of shit I could show you, bro. And not so much when I say you, I'm talking about the people.
Yeah.
So we talk about the Iroquois and how they was instrumental in helping the Europeans create a government. But what the people don't understand is that the Iroquois invaded our territory with the help of the Europeans after the death of William Penn.
Right.
All right. So the Iroquois are the ones who subjugated us and opened up the gates for the Europeans to be able to now come in here and set up what we would call the 13 colonies or the United States, right? Because the 13 colonies were existing, but they weren't existing as a unified, you know what I'm saying? And we'll get into that. Like, people don't know that each of the 13 colonies had an animal totem.
Right.
They were represented by actual totems because they were learning these lessons, right, from the indigenous people that were here. Just so happened to be the ones here with the Lenape. We were teaching them everything, teaching about the moons. That's why they know about the 13 moons. They know about all that. They know about the seasons. They know about these things. But listen, it says, William Penn was governor of Pennsylvania in the late 1600s, and he made several purchases of land from us being the Lenape. It was never his intention to force us from our homes on the lands he purchased. Mequon Onus held the white people and the Indian could live in harmony. Mequon Onus held that the white people and the Indians could live in harmony and that we should be treated as equals. During his lifetime, we had no complaints over land matters that were not able to be restored to our satisfaction. However, upon his death, others came into power who were not friendly to us and who were greedy for land. Right? In 1737, after much argument, threats, and pressure from James Logan, head of the Indian Affairs, right? Exact dates. Okay, Paul must have dropped out. Let me see if you want to come back in. But I'll still give it to you. All right. Exact dates. I'm giving you exact dates This is from a book written by a Lenape, right, who's connected all the way back, right? So in 1737, after much argument, threats, and pressure from James Logan, head of Indian Affairs, the walking purchase was signed by our chiefs. The Tumis, Tishikuk, Lapinwiso, Menakikon. Through this, we lost most of our lands in eastern Pennsylvania. By bringing forth a fake 1688 deed, supposedly signed by some of our former chiefs, Logan insisted that boundaries had never been laid out, and so were agreed that the English could have as much land as a man could walk in a day and a half. But Logan came up with a devious plan. This is called a walk and purchase. Y'all can read up about that at, you know what I mean, at another time. I'm gonna go a little further, right? So it says, by manipulation on paper, more land was marked, and it included all the lands occupied by our people and some Shawnee. This gave rise to a lot of resentment among our people. We felt frustrated and tricked, so we refused to move and threatened all intruders into our lands. The English moved settlers in, and this made us even more angry, and several incidents of violence erupted. Now, as a thorn in the side of the English, they wished to be rid of us. So Brother Onis, which is what we call the Pennsylvania government, showed the Six Nation Iroquois Confederacy chiefs the fake 1686 deed, and they stood against us and forbade us to sell our land. We were caught between the English and the Six Nations, and so had no choice but to move our people from our lands at the forks of the Delaware to the Susquehanna River. Also adding to our anger was white encroachment on our lands in the Brandywine River and the forcing of our people from that area also. So to recap this, the Iroquois partnered up with William Penn's sons. Once William Penn died, they flipped on us. They partnered with the Iroquois and put the Iroquois in power over us, forced us to sign treaties. So that first treaty that was signed by the Lenape in 1786, 1778?
Yeah, that was under duress. Yeah.
That was under duress. The first treaty signed by any Indian nation in the Americas was done so under duress, threat and duress, by the hands of the revolutionaries from England, not England, the revolutionaries from England, and the Iroquois nation, right? So in the switch from William Penn's humanitarian policies to Logan's divide and rule policy of strengthening our uncles, the Six Nations, our chiefs, we called them uncles because at the time we had been subjugated to them by you understand? Because the English gave them guns. Right. So now
that's another thing, because when they gave them guns, that's when they started enslaving the Indians.
And I'm telling you about right here in New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania. So it goes, the Six Nations, our chiefs felt helpless and frustrated, victims of an injustice against which we could do nothing. The favoritism shown to the Six Nations was highly resented by us. We were innocent victims of the Indian policy that served the best interests of the English and their resistance to the French. A policy that strengthened the Six Nations but left our Lenape people without a country to call our own. Right? So this goes on to talk about how some of our chiefs were actually drunkards put in place by the Iroquois to do their bidding. Goes into deep history, exact history. You know what I mean? Right. So when we talk about the Iroquois, people need to understand the role that the Iroquois actually played. They celebrate them, but when you know real history, you know that the Iroquois are the ones that betrayed us and opened the floodgates. Now, if you want to understand the relationship between the Iroquois and the Lenape, you got to go back further in history, You know what I mean? And that takes you back to our migration, you know what I mean, which brought us into the area and our relationship with them via our migrations, right? Which also speaks about when we first encountered your people, you know what I mean? And all the other people that we encountered on this land as we settled here.
Right.
You know what I mean? But the point I'm trying to make is that there's exact history, right? And we're aware of it. Those of us in our nations know it. I'm reading something out of a book, but there's actually people who know this history verbatim, and you can sit with them and they'll bring it to you straight off the tongue.
Straight off the dome.
Off the dome, right? So,
and you know what? And this thing that they're not teaching in school. No. See that's what I'm saying. They don't know the intricacies, like we was talking about when people talk about Kamala Harris. It's like you don't know the intricacies.
Yeah, you don't know the little details. Like, right. You don't. Yeah. Like you can't. I had somebody tell me, "Oh, you Lenape? Oh, y'all are traitors because y'all signed the first treaty with the Europeans. Y'all the ones that allowed them to create the United States. Y'all are sellouts." And I'm like, nigga, you don't know the real history.
Right.
So I just read you the real history. Meanwhile, he was a Moor claiming to be an Iroquois. You see where I'm going? Wow. This is what's crazy when those certain, not all Moors, when those certain group of Moors try to tell you, oh, the Moors, we were the Iroquois nation. Oh yeah?
Not knowing what the Iroquois nation did.
Not knowing what they did. You see?
That's why I be laughing at, boy, y'all know what y'all say?
That's why I be sitting back and I be like.
Because see, what they don't know is because I'm going to tell you something. It was the Iroquois and the Westo that helped the British and them enslave the Lenape, the Powhatan, the Yamasee, and everybody, and was sending them to Barbados and to the Caribbean islands and stuff. See, you gotta be tribal to know this. And then when you bring that out, they were like, huh? Like, yeah, you ain't talking to your elders. You
ain't here talking to your elders. Exactly. And yeah, I don't gotta be older. Listen, I know I told you before, I was out in Arizona years ago. I was in Pima territory, right? Out on the mountain. I don't know about global. I'm only speaking for Lenape. Like I don't do that. Like that's probably how it happened all over the world, though. Yeah, I would agree with that. Same situation, but I can't speak on it as in depth as I can on this history because it's my history.
Well, I wouldn't say we lost power. I said that the power is inside, is waking to be rejuvenated. In other words. Because we that generation that the elders of them spoke about.
Like, listen, you deal with a 7th generation principle, right? That deals with the things you do now, you take into consideration how it will affect the generations, 7 generations down the road. That deals with like the time it takes to manifest change, right? So going back in history, the first records I have of some of my ancestors, like on paper, documented, right, go back to the 1600s, right? And the first one, his name is Abraham Rock, right? Abraham being a Christian name, Abraham being the father of nations, right? So my first ancestor on record, they called Abraham, the father of nations. Last name Rock, right? My people that I am descending from, I descend from the Munsee Lenape, right? We the Munsee people. That's what I come from, Munsee. I'm Lenape, but my particular stock come from Munsee people, right? You have Unami, and then you have the Unochalatico, right? 3 different groups.
Right.
So I'm dealing with Muncie, right? Muncie means people of the rocks and stones. That's what it translates to in English. So
Right.
my ancestor, whose name was Abraham Rock. Now, when you're dealing with symbolism, right? And his son's name was Peter. What does Peter mean? The rock.
Rock.
See what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is that when the Europeans came here, right, they started identifying us with terms that they were comfortable with, that they knew. So the father that they encountered of this particular group or family, according to biblical,
analogy, yeah,
you would call him Abraham.
Right.
You get it? Like, so, but the point I'm trying to make is I'm the 7th generation grandchild of Abraham Rock. My generation, 7 generations. And we the ones that brought back this zeal and lust and desire to truly be who we are. You know what I mean?
Right.
7 generations. So what we planted, so 7 generations ago, my grandfather was who he was. You know what I mean?
He still is, to the very day.
Still is.
That's right.
7 generations later, we at this point, we still who we are, but we not on our square, right? So where you think we're going to be in 7 generations from now? We're going to be back on our square. You know what I mean? But I understand that it's going to take that time for us to get right. It ain't going to happen overnight. We're going to have to learn the language again, the traditions. You know what I mean? We're going to have to somehow get back some land for ourselves. We got to do all these things. But that's going to take at least 7 generations. And the only way it's going to happen.
And that's why it's so important to have our family reunions, which we call a powwow.
That's how you started.
Right.
Y'all can sit up here and throw paperwork around and do all this crazy stuff and go march on the governor and the mayor, or you could just start getting with your family, y'all, and start spreading this information. And guess what? You might not be ready to tribe up for another 20 years. But guess what? You got to start, and you got to teach everybody in the family so this knowledge is collective. And then when y'all can move forward as a group, now y'all can start demanding things. But if you got one motherfucker in your family that knows something, no, like that one, like, no, you need to galvanize your whole family. It's going to take time. You can put all the paperwork you in and all the things you want. You got to get back into the culture. And before you get into the culture, you got to get into the spirit of it.
Right. And you know what, cuz? That's something that you said that. And it also resonates when you said about the paperwork and everything. You know, they actually burned down court homes or courthouses to get away from paperwork, but by the elders and them knowing what they know, verbatim.
That's the only way
just
it made it.
Just like your boy told Ray. We told Ray when he told Malik El Shabazz when he was known as Malcolm Little, he said what? No paper, no file. No paper, no file. No paper, no file. Everybody be like, Pa, you need to write a book. Why I need to write a book when I'm still here? I have my children, right? Especially my 12-year-old son. He around me the most. So he knows what's up. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's what it's dealing with. You know?
So when we talk about, this is what I'm saying when I say to people, yo, fuck talking about this woman, put that energy into galvanize your family and your community.
Right.
That's where we're gonna win. But guess what? We're not gonna win tomorrow.
Right.
So guess what? You're gonna have to humble yourself. You can call yourself chief all you want. You ain't gonna have a chief for 20 years. If you're being responsible and humbling yourself, what you know about being a chief? Fuck out of here. You better get your people together and let them call you chief.
Right.
Let them call your son chief or your daughter chief, because you raised
Right.
them up to be that. Not because you opened a book one day and found out, damn, I'm indigenous. Nope. You put this headdress on and I'm a chief. Never mind if it's a Western plain Indian headdress. I'm going to put it on.
And see, I'm glad you brought that up, because people don't understand that our regalia tells our story of our nation, and it connects you to your clan. They don't understand you. And then another thing is, you cannot wear no Midwestern bonnet in no woods.
No.
We're woodland Indians.
Yeah.
Your head will get snagged every time you run it through the. No, we didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't do that.
We didn't do none of that.
But see, they don't understand.
Oh.
You know, and then another thing is, you really messing up, because you getting the headdress from Taiwan and China. You're not even much doing it by hand.
Mm-hmm.
With prayers being said. They don't understand that, man.
No. Let me tell you something. All the regalia I got so far, I've made. That's my, like, I made it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's my craftsmanship. You know what I mean? So when I
Right.
pop out, when I show up and show out, when I peacock on them, when I got them colors flying, you know what I mean? That's all me. That's all me. And that's what
Look,
we do.
we even do it for carnival, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't have nobody touch your suit when you making your suit.
Mm-hmm.
Your
Nope.
suit tell your story. They have your blood, sweat, and tears on
Tell
it.
your story, have your blood, sweat, and tears up.
And that's why, well, like on the interview, you just can't come and touch the suit. Oh, Chabal, you back up.
Uh-huh.
Back up. You're bound to get a machete across your head. Or an axe. You know, but they don't understand, man. It's sacred. It's sacred. It's sacred.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they man, that look, you know, in the tribal life that they call gang, you do that, that's false flagging.
Mm-hmm. like basic shit. Like,
Yeah. Like you
basic
false
shit.
flagging, man. Like,
False
come on,
flagging.
man. Don't do that.
Uh-huh. Or you know, something else I want to say. Like, people be like, yo, I'm Cherokee. I called up the Cherokee Nation and they won't let me in. Okay, I'm a Jackson. I can't call up Michael Jackson's mother and be like, yo, let me get some of that bread. I'm a Jackson. You know what I'm saying? I ain't the same Jackson. Like, you might not be the same Cherokee people as those people who signed them treaties and are sitting out on that land. So
Right.
calling them up, trying to be a part of that, and you're not that, and then when they deny you, you be like, oh, them motherfuckers, that's not your exact people. You know what I'm saying? So it's like going to somebody's grandmother and saying, Grandma, take me in. I'm your grandchild. They be like, whose baby is you?
Yeah.
Who you come from? And if you
Who your
can't
mama
tell
and
them,
them?
yeah, who your mama and them? If you can't tell them, you can't come eat. And if they let you eat, you just coming in as a guest. You know what I'm saying? But people be like, yeah, I'm calling the Cherokee. I'm calling the such and such. Like it was one, you know what I'm saying? Like the idea that they give you that there was like one government of all these nations. I know it's Lenape. We didn't work like that. We were all Lenape, but we were loosely knit. We had a similar culture. Our dialects were slightly different. We didn't have no one great chief. That stuff started happening when we had to deal with the Europeans, and it was like we need one motherfucker to talk to, because they couldn't grasp the idea that we were all independently free, and nobody was answering to nobody. But in our own villages, we had our communities in our villages, and we went to other villages, which was family members. It was just family. but nobody was
Right.
answering to nobody in the sense that how these Europeans live. So this is why
Right.
you're reading treaties that we had this person sign and this person sign, because they was like, what you mean? Like, one of you motherfuckers come, you know what I mean, holla at us. It was like, bro, when I say I got all the deeds and everything from where I'm from, Monmouth County, New Jersey, I got all of them. And the oldest land grant in North America by any Native American tribe is from the Lenape to the Europeans. Like, we the first one to actually, and really what we was giving them was freedom of religion. We wasn't giving them land. We allowed them to exist here, and we gave them freedom of religion. They could be whatever religion they wanted, as long as they lived
Right.
in tune with the people and the land. That's what this shit was all about. And they'll tell you, when them white motherfuckers, when they left, they were getting out of Europe, they were getting out of Europe because they were being oppressed for their religious beliefs. So we allowed them to settle here so they could practice whatever religion they wanted. Like, we ain't give
Right.
a fuck. That's what the first agreement is really based on. It's based on the
Right.
freedom of religious expression. You know what I mean? And I got the documents. I got the proof. This shit sits in Albany, New York.
Right.
You understand? Like, official. Had nothing to do with giving them land. So,
because that's what the Europeans of the English them came over here because of religious persecution.
Yeah, that's
and
it.
Also, the taxation and everything that they wanted to get away from the king.
Yep, that's why they came here. Like, all the ones that revolted against Britain, that's the reason why they were. Taxation and freedom. That's why each state was a different denomination. Every state basically was a different religious sect or belief.
Right.
That's how the states were originally set up. That's why each one of them had different animal totems, all that shit. 13 of them. Why was it 13 of them? Because that was our governmental formula, right? So we told them, if you want to be respected in our territory, you got to tribe up. You got to form, like, this is the structure that we move in. If you want to be respected and looked at as equal, you got to move this way. You know what I mean? If you want to join the NFL and every team got a 53-man roster and they got a coach and they got trainers and they got all these things, if you want to join the NFL, you got to have that.
Right.
That's the only way those other teams and organizations are going to recognize you as being equal. That's why they formed the 13 colonies, dealing with our the 13 moons, dealing with our clan mother system. That's why they mimicked it. That's why they went into Tammany Hall and you see pictures of all them white people dressed up like Indians, because those are descendants of the first Europeans that became Americans, and they did so by going through indigenous rites of passage. Shit we taught them.
Right.
So
see, they don't know that.
Yeah. So them motherfuckers would dress up like Indians and come be with us, and we would teach them shit. And then that regalia, them Europeans would put up and hand it down to their kids and hand it down to their kids. So now in the, early 1800s, now you see pictures of all these white people dressed up like Indians. You're like, look at them motherfuckers fronting. You don't know the history.
Right.
Them white people had to learn to be Indians to live here. They had to learn to be what we was to live here. That's that.
And then their women too, because we adopted their women, because remember in their society, the men didn't even much treat the women as women.
Nope.
They treat them like an outcast.
The women was running to us.
Right.
Running to us. Bringing the babies. So all people talking about, oh, they $5 Indians, you don't know the history. Your ancestors accepted them people. Like, you don't know the history, bro. So they may look white now, but you don't know the real history. And how do I know? Because of the shit that's coming out your mouth.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So when I hear all
And
these
then
people talking,
and they don't know the $5 Indians only apply to those that was in Oklahoma.
yeah, it ain't all of them. See, there you go. They don't get. That's
That was dealing with land allotment.
I be hearing the lip yapping, but I know they ain't saying nothing. And it's a shame because you be wanting to just to be like, that's why I know you be going hard with all this, going at them people who be bringing the misnomers and all that. You go hard at it because it's like, yo, I can't let y'all sit around and put this false shit out.
Cause
like I got tired of that
Bull
shit.
And cousin Jason, I put up the picture when we was at our family reunion, and one of the guys was not a Temple Moore. He was not a Temple Moore, but he called himself a Moore. He said, "You got white people in your family." I said, "Wait, who?" He said, "Yeah, you got white people in your family. This, yada, yada, yada." So he didn't know my cousin was on my Facebook page. He said, "I'm in Florida." He said, "I am Yamasi Seminole of the Ojadega, down here in Florida, Orange County." He said, "If you think I'm white," he said, "come down here and I will show you." Let me tell you something. You can look up my cousin right now, Chief Lil Buck. When Chief Lil Buck, before he started walking with the Great Spirit, they used to get into it with the Klansmen down there in Orange County, Florida. So him and cousin Sekou, right, who we always on the phone with, they call Lil Buck white. And Lil Buck like, "Who's white?" He said, "My blood is this, and so." He said, "You looking at my skin tone, but don't let that fool you."
Don't let it fool you.
Don't let that fool you. And that's why I keep telling people, I say, y'all talking about a race war, and y'all looking at people's skin tones, and I say, these people deal with a whole tribal nationality. And you about to fight people that you don't even much know could be your family members.
Could be your probably all your family members.
Right.
You know, motherfuckers, especially in New Orleans, shit. You know you got some white cousins. It's a fact. It's 100. Yo,
look how we say it in New Orleans. They try to be passe blanc.
Yeah,
they try to pass for white.
Yeah, I know about that.
You'd be surprised. And you know what? I'm about to get ready to piss some people off.
Yeah, they love the color game.
Those who are in the South, listen to me. Those who are in the South, those Klansmen, those white chameleon, and those of the Golden Dawn, listen to me. That was nothing but pale-faced Indians that was cousins that was trying to scare the dark-skinned Indians off their land. Right. They was like, "Yeah, we know you family, but white power." How you gonna say you white power and you know you kid? Cousin Bubba, that's you? I'm gonna tell grandmother on you. And that because they already said it. They said that mostly all the majority of the white people down south got so-called black ancestry.
Of course.
Right.
Of course.
Right. And then I take it a little bit further, right? I said in the 80s when they had cable with the brown box, right? I woke up one late night and I saw something that I didn't supposed to see, right? And I'm looking, I'm like, why she got tonsils on her chest? I was like, why she got tonsils on her chest? Right? I'm talking about tonsils being pink, right? Areola, right? And then I saw the other one. I said, now why she got brown areola and the other one is pink? I say, wait, hold on. if it's a pure European, they're supposed to have pink areolas, but why the areolas brown? I said you can tell they have us in them. And that's where they shot themselves in the foot when they said, oh, if you got one drop of Negro blood, right, which is Indian blood, you consider the Negro. Because the Indian is the Negro. Just like you said,
The
it was
eastern
adopted
and southeastern woodland Indian is the Negro.
Right. You know?
California
so I was like,
too,
I say, man, I'm like, boy, y'all be surprised with your bloodline.
We by the waters. That's how you know it's us. We by the water.
Right.
All the motherfuckers in the middle of the shit, in the middle of nothing, those wasn't our people. We had the best shit. We left the rest for them.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's why you're going to find all our people by rivers and by the ocean. And, you know what I mean? You're going to find our people in those plush type areas. You know what I mean? Like I know a lot of people want to claim the Aztec, but the Aztec was Chichimeca invaders. And they settled in the swamp. If they the original people, why they in the swamp? You know what I'm saying?
But you know what's so funny though, cuz? I'm going to drop this information on there. You know, you got a lot of people in them that doubt the so-called Atlantic slave trade because they say, oh, no ships could never make the travel of the Atlantic Ocean. But little do they know that we was using canoes to go back and forth across the so-called ocean. So if we can row canoes over there, what do you think a ship can do?
Look, there's a book written by he a Lenape. You know, I don't know why his name always escapes me. Famous dude. He wrote Africans and Indians.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? So he got another book called The American Discovery of Europe, right? And it talks about how Jack Forbes talks about how now, you know, his people originally from New Jersey, he Lenape. They moved, Jack Forbes. They moved to,
yeah, I said it because
they moved to California, and he was raised in California, but his people originally from Jersey. They Lenape people from Jersey. So in his book, he states that we would follow the giant sea turtles up through the islands that connect North America to Greenland on over to Europe, to England, right? And this is why, right? Bang, like we used to do it. You could do it in a canoe. You know what I mean? The sea turtles would migrate. So it would be dozens and dozens of turtles. Damn near forming a
turtles
landmass.
And whales.
Huh?
Turtles and whales.
Turtles and
whales.
Damn near forming a landmass. And you could be in there with your canoe and be, you know what I mean? And they would all the way over through Greenland, get to Greenland. Now you could walk across Greenland and then jump back on the other side or go against the coast. You know what I mean? And then boom, you're over into Europe, right? So we had already, Jack D. Forbes, we had already been traversing the ocean going back as long as we had canoes and sea turtles was traversing the ocean. But this is why there's a lot of similarities between the tribes here and in Europe. You know what I mean? We would call them the white tribes of Europe, but they still were living tribal lives. The Picts and all those people, right? That's why in Braveheart, they show you them white people with dreadlocks, right? Bows and arrows, all that stuff, right? Because they was living the same culture. And that's how we identified each other via our culture, not our skin color.
It even came across the Druids. Because the Druids and the Celtics in them, They
Celtics,
built.
Celts.
Most people don't even know that Stonehenge is built on a mound.
Mm-hmm. But
you ain't hear from me.
That's why there's mounds all throughout Ireland, all that.
Right.
Right. So people don't understand that connection. So for us to be in Europe, that wasn't no big thing. You know what I'm saying?
Wasn't.
Be in Africa, any of these places, it wasn't no big thing, because when you deal with if you follow the tribal path, that red road, like books I read books by Jack D. Forbes, who's talking about his people and his culture. I don't read books by some dude who studied some people and now wrote a book. I read books written by people who are those people, right?
Right.
I sit with those people to learn my knowledge. I don't read it from a book. I might go get a book to layer it, right? To add on to it, to, you know what I'm saying? But these stories, these truths come from our people, right?
Right.
So this is that's the difference when you talk about motherfuckers like, oh, I got scholarship. Yeah, you got books written by people who study people. Go get them books written by the people who are those people. Go sit with those real people. And then you're going to see.
And then I know when they say scholar, a scholar ain't nothing but a student anyway in Latin. But anyway, yeah.
There you go. Student. Whose feet did they sit at? Let me go sit with them. Because I don't know what you missed in translation or how you interpreted it or your comprehension. I don't know none of that. So I can't trust how you deliver the information to me. Right.
And then you know what's so funny though, and I remember this like yesterday, but I'm not gonna say no name. But when you told a person, you say, I have a chief that still speaks the Pa'atan language.
Mm-hmm.
No, they don't. It's like, I got a chief that speaks, not knowing that it's our cousin.
Mm-hmm. No, they don't.
You know what I'm saying?
That language is, I'm like, all right. I'm like, yo, I can link you with him. You ain't got to be in contention with me. I can link you with him. You could have that discussion with him while he's speaking that language.
Right.
You can tell him it don't exist as he's speaking the language to you.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
just like somebody say, oh, the Hihichi language don't exist. They don't speak Hihichi no more. It's like, hold on, how you gonna say that the Hihichi don't speak the language no more? I'm like, hold on, Sekou is on video speaking Hihichi. So what's the problem? But y'all want to listen to the pale face, and yet we prove the pale face wrong every time.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Like, listen. Yeah, it definitely is. Like, right on my journey, Paul, like, you know, when I first started being vocal online, you know what I mean? I had my family's backing, members of my family. You know, the truth was the truth. I was putting it out, right?
Right.
But what that did was make our presence known to the rest of Lenape all around. See what I'm saying? From South Jersey to Canada. Now they all embrace us.
And Oklahoma.
Now they all embrace us. They know who we are.
Right.
You know what I mean? They say, when you ready, we here for you.
Right.
I'm not running now like, take the time with my family to get us up to speed. Those of us who are more, you know what I mean, into it and adept, you know what I mean? We the ones spearheading the charge, but we doing it for the rest of the family. And when the rest of the family is ready to come, they'll come. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We setting it up. We building the longhouse for the family. And we're going to our extended family to learn how to do these things. You know what I mean? So now I got great relationships with chiefs. You know what I mean? My cousin, Silent Hawk, is a monster. He's a beast. Like, he done he the one with all he done made it all happen. I ran my mouth, got people's attention, but he the one that walked in them doors and sat down with them people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And solidified it. Like, yeah, it is what it is.
Right.
And they know us. You know what I mean? And this was an example I was trying to set for people. Like, this is how you could do it. You ain't got to do all this other shit. You who you say you are. Just be humble. You know what I mean? Be honest. And your people gonna come get you.
Right.
They gonna come get you. You know what I'm saying? So I don't be online as much anymore because now I got a nations that respect me. You know what I'm saying? So I can't be, I necessarily can't be out here wilding and doing the things I used to be doing because now I'm here. I'm doing work with and for my people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's what this was really all about for me. And that's what it should be for everybody. Like, if you say this is who you are, then you should be maneuvering yourself, you know what I mean, and trying to get back to that. If that's what you say it is, if you just want to say it, then cool. All right, cool. You know what I mean? But yo, it's still there. The people's still there. You know what I mean?
Ain't going nowhere.
Ain't going nowhere. From the south to the north to the east to the west, they still there all over, like everywhere. It's mad tribes up here.
Right.
Like right in this little area, it's like 5 tribes. We're not even talking about Connecticut, on through Rhode Island. Like it's hundreds of tribes all up and down the East Coast, all the way through to the Southwest. Hundreds.
And you know what's so funny, cuz, that you said that? Because they were saying, yeah, they had 500 nations and the 500 nations were destroyed. I say, wait, hold on. I say the last time I checked, the BIA have over 520 tribes. Mm-hmm. So if they had 500 before, how you get 520
now?
Over 20 nations already?
Yeah.
We got more than that.
More. Way more. And that's the thing. That's what they labeled them. They labeled us nations. Like, the definition of nation and what we are, like, they base the definition of nation on the study of people. You know what I mean?
Right.
The study of actual, phenomena that they witnessed. So, like, these ain't just words they created and then molded a society behind the word. The words reflect what was going on naturally. Already. Right. So when people be like, they called us nations, and some of the rules that you understand based on the nation you've been raised in don't apply. Like, we don't, like, the tribal nations don't think like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's still based on the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, that's the artificial shit is still based on the real. Maybe artificial, but it's based on the real. Its foundation is within a certain format that comes naturally. You know what I'm saying? So, but the idea that we were a nation, how we think of nations now, like, we got a president, head of the nation, and we got this whole series of, steps and stuff that all add up to one person that runs it all. It wasn't really like that for us, you know what I mean? So to say there was 500 nations, it was probably more like fucking 5,000, you know what I mean? Little nations, you know what I mean? Of people that covered large territories, you know what I'm saying? One button up to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, all over. You know what I mean? Like, the Lenape, some would say it throughout our history that there was 52 nations. You know what I mean? That's you know what I mean? How many nations, or what we didn't call them nations, but they're nations. You know how many are missing? You know what I mean? Like my nation is recording the history, but we not like active like the Shinnecock. You know what I'm saying? We not active like the Yamasee. We not active like, you know what I mean? These other groups that like the Ramapo or the Nanticoke, you know what I mean? But we still are who we are. You know what I mean? So and that goes like to tell people that when you're looking for your nation, you are your nation. You and your people and your family are your nation. You don't gotta go talk to some motherfuckers somewhere else to get them to validate who you are. You know what I
Right.
mean? You just gotta be who you are, and when you're ready, you go let these people know. You don't say,
Right.
"Oh, put me on." You tell them, "Nah, this is who we are." You know what I mean? And then when they want to sit up there and talk the history and the genealogy with you, you talk it with them. If you don't know the history, you humble
Right. Yeah,
yourself and you learn it from them.
That's right.
But you're not asking them to accept you. You're just telling them who you are. You know what I
Right.
mean? And real Indians, whatever you want to call it, oh, we're not Indians, that's a such and such word. However you want to play that game, the real people are not going to tell you you're not who you are. You know what I'm saying? The real
They're gonna
people ain't
embrace
going, they ain't going to say
they're gonna
that.
embrace you.
Yeah, because they're going to know that, yeah, I know our families look all different because they're going to know the real history. The real people know the real history. So they know
Right.
not to look at the skin color or the this or that. They know that we've been through all types of stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, you know, like I know why the Lenape out in Oklahoma look the way they look. I know why they look that way. Because
Right.
there was a point in time when they was amalgamating with all types of different people when they was living on the Ohio River. This is before they ended up
Right.
in Oklahoma. They went to different places. They went to Kansas. They was going to different places. You know what I mean? Before they settled in Oklahoma. Like it took
Right.
them 80 years to get from basically Ohio River to Oklahoma.
Look, they forgot they was mixing with the Amish and the Quakers.
Everybody was getting in on it. So by the time they got out there, yeah, some of them looked certain ways. You know what I'm saying? Like it is what it is.
And the Midianites.
All that.
See, they don't know the history, bro. We the walking books, bro. And I know it shocked the hell out of them when they saw you and I together. They not even much knowing that we relate.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh my goodness,
Yeah, old friends.
you know,
Old friends.
like oh boy, like oh damn, these
Damn.
two motherfuckers.
Old friends that found out they family, tribal family. Like damn, we related.
Like
Tribally,
shit,
you know what I mean?
like
Yeah.
like man.
But yo,
Dude, life is wonderful, man. In
yeah.
spite of all the bullshit that's going on, life is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Life is wonderful.
Yeah, I'm having a great time. You know what I mean? I'm
Right.
having a great time. Life is good.
Right.
Feels good. You know what I
Right.
mean? So yeah. You know, we're gonna chop it up again, Pa. You know we're gonna jump back in and do this again, man. I gotta get ready for some other shit I got planned tonight. But definitely, man, we're gonna chop it up again. I wanna say thank you, bro. You know what I mean?
Oh man.
Hopefully,
Then let's speak. You
yeah,
already know.
new shit, Manishi, you know what I mean? Hopefully people, you know, the fee to be up, people to come in and check out the build. And you know what I mean? Next time we on here, we'll have more people interacting, possibly. You know what I mean? We can really go
don't
in.
be afraid to ask your questions. Yeah. You know, ask your questions. You know, because just like I said before, you know, look in the family Bible, right? We got family records in it because before they had birth certificate, they were putting the births in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, don't knock it because the elders in them did practice Christianity. You know,
Yeah, they did. That shit kept people together for a while.
Right. That was the family church. How you think everybody in the church knew one another? Because they were family.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't like these mega churches where you don't know who nobody is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
It was your family. That's it.
That was it. That was it.
Shit.
You know? Yeah, man. Shit, it's always a fucking beautiful build. You know, I'm happy for those who joined, and I'm happy for those who's going to be coming on. You know, checking out the live and the feed. You know, once again, you know, if you have any questions, if you got questions to ask Big Turtle Gang or me, don't be afraid to hesitate. Don't be afraid to DM in the box. You know what I'm saying? You know, but yeah, bro, shit. That's the thing right there, man.
Mm-hmm.
Get your family together, you know, do what you have to do.
Absolutely.
Because you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how many family members is inside your family. That's a whole nation. Like you see,
That's
a
a
whole
nation
nation.
right there. Like
That's a nation right there.
your family and extended family members, that's a nation right there. You don't need nobody else. Get your shit together. Go learn your culture. Ain't nobody gonna tell you you're not who you are when you in your culture. They can't. Just like you
Right.
can't tell. Just like you can't tell those Mongolians they not what they are, and they in their goddamn culture, singing their songs,
Right.
doing their dances, still in their tradition. Like, what the fuck is the matter with y'all? Oh, we the
Right.
original. Yeah, but you ain't got your shit.
Right. And you know what's so
Go
funny
get
too,
your
cuz?
shit.
You know what's so funny? It's like I was tagged into the final battle group, right? And one of them was like, yeah, the Yamasi was extinct and they killed the Yamasi. And I'm like, hold on. If they extinct, I should have dinosaur bones then.
Mm.
I was like, because they only destroyed one village. I said, do you know how many villages that we have?
That's crazy.
I said, you know what? They pulled up the paleface information, right? I said, you know what? I'm gonna show you what the paleface said too.
Mm-hmm.
If they destroyed the Yamasi, why they say they found the Yamasi in Pensacola, Florida? But yet you supposed to destroy us in South Carolina.
Shit don't make no sense.
It don't make no sense.
Because they're not
And then
thinking.
mostly,
Like,
they're not thinking.
that's how you know, like, although motherfuckers be like, yo, like, I'm a researcher and this and that. As soon as you start dropping, right, they gonna pull up some shit. Like, motherfucker be like, oh, I don't trust DNA, right? That's the white man's science. And then they'll use another form or field of science to prove their point. Well, look, we got archaeological proof. Like, ain't that the white man's shit too? Like,
Right.
what's like either you gonna throw all his shit out, but if you throw all his shit out, you ain't got nothing left. Because you're not getting your shit from anywhere but these white men.
Right.
And I'm not saying that these white men is wrong with the shit. I'm sure they got some truth to it. They definitely do. I've read all those books. Like, people don't know, I've read all them dumbass books. I read all that shit. You know what I mean? Everything I be watching these dudes and they be, you know, what's my man? What's the dude that everybody's getting his book, Ancient America? Know how long I had that book?
They just getting on it.
Yeah, they on it now, doing shows about it. Damn, they're replaying his videos. And I'm like, man, like that shit old, and that man don't know what he's talking about all the way. Like, they know some of it, but they don't know all of it. And I don't know why y'all would think they know all of it. You know what I mean? Like, they know what they know, and then they put they try to fill the gaps in, they spin it, and it sound good to you because you don't know the truth. You know what I mean? Like, when certain things are said, it sound real good to the people. But when you know the truth, like, I know what the cherry trees really are and what they stand for.
Oh boy, did you drop that one?
So when they talk about chopping down a cherry tree, I know what they really talking about. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, you dropped that.
Yeah.
And then what the other one was, oh yeah, they gave the Europeans a 50-year mandate and all that day. You dropped that, you was like, hold on. They had to talk to the chiefs and them and everything to come this way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, it's, you know, that's what I'm saying. When you know the truth, when you can go to a piece of land that still bears the name that it had when it was indigenous country, when you can go to that piece of land or that lake or that river and it's your people's language, can't nobody tell you nothing. You're gonna tell me, man. All this shit got my people's name on it. Everywhere. Everywhere I be got my people's name on it. And that's why I don't like leaving. because I feel strong. I feel powerful in these lands. This is what my, you know what I mean? I love this shit, B. I love
and
this shit.
Dumb shit. And what that dumb shit the dude said when you showed him the sacred rock that was a turtle, he said, "Oh, what that's supposed to do?" Like, nigga, you don't know? You don't know the significance when he just showed you?
You're like, that shit, it's a carving on that rock that date back to Younger Dryar, like 13,000 years ago. And if you saw the carving, you'd be like, oh shit. Go study Younger Dryar. When the people know what that is, I'll show them the picture. And their jaws are dropped. Picture I took. Not no picture from a book. You ain't gonna get this in a book. It ain't in no books.
Look. You showed you walking to it. So who took a picture of you walking?
Yeah, like I don't get it.
Right.
I don't get it. And I'm in these places because, you know what I mean, my people recognize me and they showing me love. You know what I mean? They respect what I've done. You know what I'm saying? So they're like, yo, come on. Now we really gonna show you some shit. And you thought you knew some shit. We about to really show you some shit. And I just be quiet. I be quiet around my people. Quiet. Humble. Feel like a 12-year-old.
Right.
50. Feel like I'm 15. Right. You know what I'm saying? Nigga teaching me 3 years older than me, but I'm looking at him like he's my father. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Nigga 3 years older than me.
My chief younger than me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But when he speak, oh boy.
Like, damn. Yeah.
Look, that because just came on. And then you know what's so funny, Turtle? You know what's so funny? Cousin Walpad was on your page. He wasn't even much friends with me yet. You said he asked you a question. You said, go talk to Noble Pie. He down there in the Washington area. Go talk to him. So when I saw it, I hit him in the inbox. And I said, you said your people them from the Napoleonville, huh? He said, yeah. I said, bro, call me. Called him, talked to him. Told him everything there is to know. He went back and asked his mama. His mama verified everything I said. He called me back that morning. Said, bro, man, you told the truth. You told the truth. And look, now Andre came down here. Andre always coming down. He loved New Orleans. But I showed him things. I showed them the mound where we went to, where we was walking. And most people in New Orleans don't even much know they got an Indian mound right there under their nose. They don't even know this. I'm like, I gotta tell the people, like, hey, I show Andre that one that we went to, and I showed him the second one. And he was like, wow. I'm like, yeah, bro. I'm like, I live this, man.
I'll Pa connect you with me. Pa just connect me with Andre and shit. Said he got something for the chief.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get that together. It's not a problem.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's a beautiful thing when you connect with family, man. I mean, it's wonderful. It's beautiful, bro. That's better. That's better than money to me, bro.
Yeah.
That shit. Look, I got goosebumps and shit, man.
And I get money with my people. You feel me?
Right.
Oh yeah. I've learned throughout my life and my, you know, as I started to demonstrate things, like it's only gonna be a few. But this is the thing, right? I'm gonna tell you something. Me and Pa had these same conversations 10 years ago with only a few motherfuckers on. And those few motherfuckers went on to go fucking start their own shits. And now they got mad motherfuckers. Like, I like to say this, bro. I make art for artists. You feel me? Like we do it for the people that do it for the people.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about? We the reservoir that the people who teach the people get the shit from.
Right.
I know it to be true.
And then guess what, bro? You know, Yasif is my cousin, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
When Brooklyn? You say, I found out when you said, "Pa, you need to get with him."
Mm-hmm. You talking about from Brooklyn?
Yeah. I hit him up in the inbox because a comment that he made, right?
Mm-hmm.
He said, bro, he said, you know my people from Louisiana, right? And they're like, yeah. And so he said, but also I got people from the Carolinas. And he said, you know my people, Yamasi, right?
Mm.
And I said, oh, they all? I said, what clan? He said, the clan. I said, you know what? I said, when I usually ask people what clan, they go to talk about their last name, then with the clan. I know I'm talking about the Animal Clan. He said the Animal Clan. I'm not going to tell it on here, but he said it. When you talk to him, I'll see you the thing. So he was like, yeah. He said, you'd be surprised who you related to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you would. Small world.
It's a small world.
Yo.
He said the clan. When he said the clan, I was like, that's family.
You know, the old people around my way used to always say, everybody in New Jersey is related by blood or marriage. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, we all related somehow.
Right.
Like, everybody, you know, primarily talking about people of color. You know what I mean?
Right.
But, you know,
right.
You know, they would say it a different way, but yeah, we all related. Blood and marriage. Sometimes both. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you're married your blood.
Yeah, cousins marrying cousins.
Yeah.
But from a different clan though.
Different
from
clan,
a different clan.
yeah.
Not the same clan.
Yeah.
Different clans. Let's get that straight, from different clans.
Different
not
clans.
The same clan.
It's still cousins. It'd be your third cousin. Listen, my grandfather and my grandmother are cousins.
Right.
It is what it is, bro. They removed. They're not like they
real close.
They're not like
first and second.
Not first and second, but yeah, they probably like third. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Was what it was. We lived in a small village. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, we was in a village that became a town. You know what I mean? That ended up becoming a city.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it was what it was.
We know the history, man.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
We know the history.
It's on the masses because they always getting it. They will silence their argument.
Yeah, man. Sure.
See, the thing is,
how
right?
The intricacies are intricate. You know what I'm saying?
When they be running their mouth, all they really doing is letting the people who know they don't know. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like every time they run, like my man that run around here and talk the craziest cartoon, comic book, superhero shit, right? Every time he open his mouth, he get further and further from the truth. And I be like, oh my God.
My God.
10 years ago, I thought you was right here. Now you like way over there. Like, yo, this nigga's getting further away from the truth.
Right. And he perpetuated that lie about the Yamasi got defeated in the war. I'm like, dude, like, hold on. Like, hold on. If we got defeated, just like Cousin Warpath said, if we got defeated, y'all say y'all defeated us as the Yamasi. Then you turn around and had the Gullah War. You said y'all defeated us as the Gullah. Then you turn around and had the first Seminole War. You say you destroyed us then. Then they had the second Seminole War. You say you destroyed us. And then for the third Seminole War, Andrew Jackson was like, leave them alone. They costing us too much money, but yet they call us the Unconquered. It got so bad that they didn't want our name, the Yamasi, to be around, so therefore they started calling us Creeks and Seminoles.
We want the name around.
Yeah, they tried to change the name. Like, nah, y'all niggas causing us too much trouble. y'all killed us on Easter weekend while we was in church.
Shit. Yo,
it's like
we're gonna have to wrap this up though, Pa. I got.
You already know.
Yeah, I gotta get into. Take a break, and I gotta jump into some other shit.
Right.
But yo, we're gonna come back at him. Yeah, definitely do.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna come back at him real soon.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit you back up in the next couple of days, man. We're gonna start busting their head again, you know. They can come see us. Any of them can come see us, right? When we in these moments, they can all come see us.
Right.
Any of them.
Right.
Like anybody. That's not like anybody. Come talk to, like all that shit y'all want to talk, you can come see us.
Cause I always got that red stick.
Got a hard head, yo. LMB hard shell.
Right.
Turtle, man. Snapping fucking turtle, bro.
I tell them, watch it when they stepped in that mud in Mississippi. They don't know what's down there.
Yeah, I'm at home down in the mud in Mississippi too. Get it fucked up.
Bro.
All right. Snapping turtle at home in the mud in Mississippi. But yo, I'm gonna holler at you real soon, man. All right.
All right, cuzzo.
Peace, bro. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate you.
Oh, all the time. Joko Key in Bogota.
Okay. My niece and new shit. Peace.
Peace.
All right. So boom. Wrap that up. We probably had a nice build. I gotta get out of here.
See, whatever you're doing,
got some other shit I gotta take care of.
However you spend your time, that tells you who you are. So think about what it is you like to create in your life experience. Once I look at how you commit your time, once I do an evaluation on how you spend your time, I can tell you exactly what you're committed to. How much time do you spend working on you? How much time do you spend every day working on your dream? In the last 90 days, how many books have you read? In the last year, what new skill or knowledge have you acquired? What kind of investment have you made in you?
A lot of people, as soon as they punch out, they rush home to sit on the couch. They rush home to do nothing.